Well, good afternoon. I am Sia with Black Petal Gardening, and you can see we are here on another rainy day. It is Sunday, I think the 9th. Yes, Sunday the 9th. And so this is the day after we had our big project day yesterday, and you can kind of see the results of that. If you haven't seen our previous video with that information, just ignore this big mess pile down here. But over in the back, we've expanded our blueberry garden area, and we did go to the store and get more of the bark nuggets to put down. It's not 100% covered yet, so we'll probably be going back again today to get, I think, about maybe 8 more bags to fill out the area. One thing that we're kind of looking at is we absolutely plan to put, wood borders made from the bins back there as we decommission them. But I kind of like the idea of having these 12-inch stones as a border along 3 of these edges. I'm thinking not the back edge because that's not going to give enough walk space, comfortable walk space without the potential of tripping on things. But at least along these 3 over here, I kind of like that idea. I'm still toying with it in my head as to whether I want to go that route or not. I like the idea of it creating additional spaces for us to put pots out while they're still being, easy access, walking area around the bins. I don't know if it'll give it a little bit more of a finished look. It's obviously, this is my gardening area. It doesn't need to be pristine by any means. The other downside, of course, and you might be able to see it from here, is our ground is definitely not level, and I have really no interest in trying to level it out. So it may not look great if if you have varying levels of stuff going on. So I'm still hemming and hawing about that. If there's a way that we can more easily accommodate the lack of levelness of the yard, so it doesn't look too terrible, maybe we'll go that route. I don't know. I've got it in my mind, and I'm certainly enjoying the idea of what benefits it could bring. What I'm going to do today is we actually ended up going to Coastal Farms, or on our way back from going to Home Depot, because Scott needed to get some 2-quart jars for his stuff, because he's definitely gotten very into the fermenting world. And so while we were there, we of course passed some seeds, and I couldn't keep from deciding to grab some. So what I'm looking to do is seeing where in this particular bin I can add some more items. Scott bought some beets, and I'm thinking while these peas are still kind of small, it may be a good time to put the beets that he bought in this open area. Now, granted, we did throw some lettuce seeds in here because Scott went a little bit off the plan with the lettuce planting from yesterday, and we had some extras. So that may be an interesting combination, but I'm thinking we should have room to put 2 rows of beets, 7 beets each, and hopefully they will germinate and grow up big enough so that when the peas over here grow and start to create shade, they will be developed enough that the afternoon sun coming in will be enough for them to feed and keep them growing. This might be a little bit risky. They do prefer cooler temperatures, so maybe the shade will be a good thing. We'll just have to kind of see. The other thing that I'm thinking of doing is to put a row of carrots. I want to be careful that I don't disrupt the flower seed that I planted along the sides of here. And these don't need to be very deep. Now, it might be a little bit more of a pain that we're doing this in the rain with super wet soil because I am using seed tape, and seed tape has kind of the texture and feel of maybe a paper towel, maybe that like if you put up the crepe paper, decorations, it might be a little bit less firm than that. But suffice to say that it's going to disintegrate in water fairly easily. You can see here, this is the seed tape. It is from last year. It did go in our on our table, and so there is the possibility that some of these do not actually germinate because I had left them out over the winter, but we're going to give it a go. And we will come back once I have this cut to the size that it needs to be and laid down. So playing with that a little bit more, I'm actually thinking it's definitely more of a weak paper towel rather than crepe paper. It's a little bit more substantial than some toilet papers that I have had the misfortune of using. You can see already, that it's soaking up the raindrops. And if we can get kind of close in, each of those little discolorations are seeds. And that's really what I like about the seed tape option is they are already spaced out in a pretty good manner, and so that you don't necessarily have to do any thinning. At least let me put it this way, I didn't do any thinning last year when I used this. The seed tape makes it really easy to see where the seeds are, so when you're going to cover them, you don't have to worry that you have missed something. And again, you don't have to cover carrot seeds very deeply. And okay. So I'd had the plan or the thought or hope to do 2 rows of carrots, but there's definitely not enough room. There's honestly probably barely enough room for this one, but we're gonna go for it anyway and see what happens. So yeah, hopefully the fact that this is wet isn't going to be too big of an issue. It's not going to be too hard for the seeds to push up. One thing that I did not do and should have was get something written down so I know that where I planted this. I am going to go do that in just a second. But yeah, not bad. All right, we are taking a brief intermission from the video you were just watching because I wanted to let you guys know about some of the planting that we have done after the video was made. Today is Monday the 10th, of April, and the video was being made yesterday, Easter Sunday the 9th. So between when the video was filmed and now, we have added a few more things to this raised bed. And the first of those are some zinnias. And we decided to get these cut and come again zinnias. These are part of the ones that we picked up from Coastal Farms that we just couldn't stay away from. And according to the information, the seeds are supposed to be planted 1/4 inch deep. You're supposed to do a group of 3 seeds and make them essentially a foot apart, and then later thin them so that they're 1 every 12 inches. I don't like to thin. So instead what I did was I planted 1 seed here and 1 seed over here, not quite a foot apart, but a decent amount of space. Really, my main concern is kind of twofold. The fact that I did only do 1 each means there's a greater chance that germination does not actually happen, and so you don't get the number of plants that you might want. The other thing being that they are kind of close to the onions in both situations. So I'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. Hopefully it won't be that big of a deal, and we'll have some beautiful color coming up and adding opportunities for pollinators to come in and visit this particular bed. Now the next item and area is right over here in this corner where I did 2 plantings, and these are these super adorable teddy bear dwarf sunflowers. These ones get to be 2 to 3 feet tall, and we decided we didn't really have a great place to put larger sunflowers, so we were very excited to find these dwarf varieties. Again, it suggests doing a group of 3, these ones needing to be 6 to 9 inches apart. And again, I ignored that and I just did 1 in each of the areas. So yeah, I'm hoping that that will result in some nice color and flowers and fun stuff for that corner. And on this corner, we did these sunspot dwarf sunflowers. These ones are even smaller, supposedly, 18 to 24 inches. What was interesting about these is the seeds for these were actually larger than the teddy bear ones, which are a bigger plant. So I found that a little interesting. Similar planting expectation for them, and we planted 1 over in this corner and 1 a little bit over here. Now, I know I'm talking about bringing in pollinators. I don't have a lot of faith that my feverfew and the brown-eyed Susans are actually going to germinate. We'll see. We will see. But really, all of this looks like it's just weeds that I'm going to have to pull out. And that's fine. You know, it's a learning curve, learning experience. Don't turn up your raised beds when you have native soil in there, because who knows what you're going to turn up in the process, I guess, is the lesson that I have taken from that. Now, last but not least, I did mention that we were going to do some beets, because Scott picked out some beets that he wanted, and again from the Coastal Farms Botanical Interest little kiosk, and these are the ones that he picked. So they look like a super fun blend. I would say we probably have maybe 14 to 18 in here. We did do 2 rows, and the back of this says to plant them a 1/2 inch deep and then 1 seed every 4 inches. The row spacing, they say make it a foot. We probably did like 8 inches. we'll see how that turns out. What's kind of interesting is it says to thin when they're 2 inches tall to 1 to every 4 inches. So I don't, that doesn't make sense to me, because if you're putting one seed, does that mean each seed can make multiple beets? I'll be honest, I have never had beets. I've never grown beets, so I have no idea what to expect. But that's what we did. And you may have noticed we do have some new tags, because these metal ones here, I ran out of those. So we picked some of these up at Home Depot. We'll see how long the wording actually lasts. And here's Scott's contribution to this, because he is super hilarious. So hilarious. But that is going to be everything that we put into this bin. I really don't think there's a lot of room left for anything. I'll be honest, some of the stuff that we have added to this probably might be too many things in one area, but we'll find out. The other thing I did want to say is we only seem to have 2 of the seeds we planted here germinate. I did put in 4 at the time, so what I ended up doing was adding 2 more a little bit closer to this trellisy thing. And so maybe that'll count as kind of like a succession sowing situation if those ones decide to germinate. And just as a last little bit, this trellis is just a tomato cage. You can see here, this can fold into a square shape, but we're going to try and use it as a trellis. It's not super sturdy, it's a little bit flimsy, so that may end up being a poor choice on our part, and we'll have to shore it up somehow. But we'll deal with that as and if it comes. All right, well, it is obviously raining out here. It is a little bit, not a little bit, it is chilly, and I am on a break. So I need to get back to work, and I will get you back to your previously scheduled video. I guess while I'm here, you can kind of see, here's how it's looking with the bark nuggets. Didn't get necessarily a great view as we were coming in and around. So it's not cedar chips or the typical chips that I think most people tend to see, but I think it looks nice and it's serving its purpose, because this particular area right here was getting fairly muddy with all of the water and everything, because this is definitely our rainy season. So yeah, I am very pleased with the results of this particular choice, and we will be going ahead and filling this out. I'm pretty sure we're going to go to Home Depot today, so this will be the 3rd time in 3 days that we have visited our local Home Depot to purchase this. Now, what we have covered here so far, just if you were curious about the financial cost of this, because I fully acknowledge that chip drop is typically free. I think there's an option where you can kind of donate 10, 20, 40 or whatever dollars, and that can sometimes get you your chips faster, because then the landscaper or tree people, whoever's doing the drops, don't have to pay for the ability to do the drop, because I guess there is a cost to the folks that are providing the chips. It sounds like it's a fairly reduced cost, but there's still cost. So if you figured, $20, $0 to $20 to get some chips, obviously that's going to be a pretty good deal, depending on how many chips you get, what the quality of them are, if it works for the application that you want, and you're able to deal with potential inconvenience of where it gets dropped, the timing of how it, of it getting dropped, and all of that. So we decided to forego that. Um, and what you're seeing here is a result of 13 bags, because we had the one bag that we did our test area, and then we bought 12 more bags. And the cost of the bags is about $5 per bag. I want to say it's $4.97. So, that to me is not terrible. It's $65. Um, and it almost fully covered the area that we need it to. Um, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, so this is the area that I'm not going to contemplate putting the stone down because it is fairly narrow. Even if we put plastic here, there's a little bit of a slope, and so that'll make it difficult. But for the area that we have left, I'm guessing we'll need about another 8 bags, potentially another 12. So, if we look at it as $120, $125 total to get this all cleared. It's not small money by any means, but I think it's a fairly reasonable cost for the ground cover. Obviously, if we do go the route of putting these little pavers along the edge, the perimeter. Oh my goodness. Wait, there we go. Come on, little wormy. Sheesh. That is definitely going to have an additional cost, because I want to say those are $1.67 each. They're less than $2, but still not cheap. It's really something that I'm struggling with, whether that's the route I want to go. I like the idea because we are going to have these sections here for the green stalks, so that kind of ties it in. Plus, as I said, we could put other pots with plants in them. It gives another additional different texture and visual in the area, which would be nice. Plus, it also means that's a little less area that we do have to cover with the bark nugget. But it's certainly not perfect. There's dips, there are rises, and I'm not looking to level it out, quite frankly. This is definitely a lazy person's garden. I don't know. Maybe the answer isn't lazy person's. It's a in pain, back pain and knee pain person's garden. Trying to do what I can to make it look as nice as possible with the least amount of actual hard physical labor as I can muster. So every time I look at this, I am so pleased with what we've done. So it makes me happy, absolutely. And really, to me, that's the most important part. Is it serving the function that you want it to serve? And when you look at what you have done, are you happy with the results? It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't mean that it can't be improved upon, but are you happy with the results? And at this point, the answer for me and what we've done is yes. So now we can just continue to look to the future and whatever improvements and other projects that we have waiting for us to get to them. Once again, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the content, we would love to see that in the form of a like. Maybe make a comment or two. And of course, if you'd like to continue to see what we're doing and following along with us, absolutely love to have you subscribe. And until next time, maybe on a nicer, non-rainy day. I hope you all have a fantastic afternoon. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.